this video, we will cover policies and procedures that student organizations deal with on a regular basis.
Right now, we'll cover Title IX. It's a federal law that prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex in schools that receive federal funding. You may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with my organization? Well, all student organizations, with the exception of club sports and social Greek-lettered organizations, must abide by Title IX.
Since the passage of this law and the publication of the implementing regulations, the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights has evolved a rather clear set of criteria for determining when single-sex organizations are exempt from the provisions of Title IX. To find out if your organization falls under this criteria, you must answer these questions.
Is the organization's membership limited to students in pursuit or with an interest in a particular field of study, profession, or academic discipline?
Is the membership limited to individuals who have a high level of achievement in scholarship or any other endeavor?
Are students allowed to hold membership in other fraternities or sororities at the university?
If your organization answered yes to any of the questions, it is not a social fraternity and is not exempt from the requirements of Title IX. Your organization must accept members of both sexes.
Earlier, we talked about how students can use marketing materials to promote their events. All student organizations that want to post marketing materials on campus, including residence halls and academic buildings, must seek a stamp of approval through the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, Student Union, Room 3504.
Marketing material should not include or promote vulgar, suggestive, pornographic or obscene images or references, as well as any references to alcohol of any kind, unless the event is approved by the Dean of Students. If the event has been approved to have alcohol, the alcohol can only be referred to as legal beverages available. Another resource that is available for student organizations to market their materials out of large pools of students is through Rocket Blast. If you have an approved event, your organization has the opportunity to post your organization's flyer in Rocket Blast.
To submit a flyer for Rocket Blast, all you have to do is go to your OrgSync portal under Forms and fill out the Rocket Blast submission form. All student orgs need to have at least one UT-employed faculty or staff member. Student organizations may have additional advisors that are not employees or graduate assistants. If your organization can't find an advisor, no problem. The Office of Student Involvement and Leadership will act as your advisor on a temporary basis.
Yes, we are going to talk about alcohol again because this is a very serious matter. Student organizations that wish to serve alcohol at their events may do so only with prior permission from the Dean of Students. The Dean of Students may impose additional restrictions or conditions as deemed necessary. Student organizations seek this approval through the proper completion and submission of the event registration form.
An F permit must be successfully secured from the university system. If this request is denied by the university or city for any reason, alcohol will not be allowed at the event, or the event will be canceled. Sorry.
Also, alcohol can only be sold by a licensed and insured vendor. UT's food service contractor, Aramark, is the preferred vendor and must give permission to use any other vendor on campus.
With prior permission from the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership, university-recognized student organizations can use the University of Toledo's name, seal, logo, and symbols. If the organizations want Rocky or Roxy at their events, they'll need permission from athletics and will have to send a draft of their design or flyer for approval first.
Student organizations wishing to use amplified sounds such as DJs, bands, and radio broadcasts at outdoor locations must use the following locations:
Centennial Mall, Grass by the Fieldhouse, Flatlands, McComas Village Courtyard, Carter Field, and Parking Lot 25.
Any event utilizing these areas must have prior approval through the facility's reservation and event planning process. Amplified sound may be denied or repealed if it causes any disruption to classes or general university operations.
The Flatlands is the only approved place on campus for bonfires. To host a bonfire, a student organization will have to reserve the Flatlands, indicating their desire to have a bonfire on a form through the student union office at least 5 weeks in advance.
Any event that utilizes outside talent or vendors paid by university funds requires a contract between the performer or vendor and the University of Toledo. Students are not permitted to negotiate or sign any contract on behalf of the University of Toledo.
Events that may require a contract must have space reserved with the appropriate facility and contracts request form submitted to the student union office with as much notice as possible, minimum of 10 weeks. Only a UT-generated contract will be accepted.
Date and slave auctions are not supported by the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership as forms of fundraising opportunities. Date or slave auctions involve the process of bidding on a human being for the services or the ability to spend time with a certain person. This process devalues a human being to the level of merchandise and involves a comparison of the relative value of each person being auctioned.
So for these reasons and more, the Office of Student Involvement and Leadership strongly encourages student organizations to hold alternative events and fundraisers.
All student organizations are required to have the most up-to-date version of the University of Toledo's non-discrimination clause in their constitution, and more importantly, they are expected to follow the non-discrimination clause in all of its activity and function.
Student orgs are allowed to limit membership with specific criteria, such as degree program. Organizations cannot deny based on race, color, religion, sex, gender identity, age, national origin, and sexual orientation, veteran status, or disability. And remember, all student organizations should stay in compliance with Title IX.
Student organizations are required to recruit all students and are not allowed to deny or discourage membership based off of gender or gender identity. In the event that discrimination occurs based on a hearing, the organization will be removed from the University of Toledo as a violation of Title IX.
No student organization should condone or tolerate any form of sexually abusive behavior perpetuated by its members or affiliates. Whether physical, mental, or emotional, sexual harassment is defined as unwelcome sexual advances, requests, gestures, or physical conduct of a sexual nature.
This includes any actions that are demeaning to anyone, including, but not limited to, date rape, gang rape, sexual assault, verbal harassment or threats, physical, verbal, or nonverbal conduct of an offensive, intimidating, or threatening nature based on an individual's race, color, religion, sex, age, national origin, ancestry, sexual orientation, gender identity and expression, military or veteran status, genetic information, familial status, or political affiliation that is sufficiently serious to deny or limit the individual's ability to participate in the university's educational program or working environment. Additionally, a complaint form can be filled out and delivered to the Office of Institutional Diversity.
And remember, harassment is a form of discrimination. No student org, individual student, or alumnus should conduct or condone hazing activities. Hazing is defined as committing any act of initiation, individually or with another student or student organization, coercing another, including the victim, to commit any act that causes or creates a substantial risk of causing mental or physical harm to any person. No person should recklessly participate in hazing. No administrator, employee, or faculty member should recklessly allow the hazing of a person. Hazing is a misdemeanor of the 4th degree under Ohio law.
When a student or student organization is found to be involved in hazing activity, the university shall have the authority to initiate disciplinary action regardless of the location of the activity. Students or student organizations found in violation of the university hazing policy shall be subject to the range of sanctions available to the university as outlined in the student handbook. person violates the hazing policy if the person engages in hazing,
solicits, encourages, directs, aids, or attempts to aid another in participating in hazing,
intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly permits hazing to occur,
has first-hand knowledge of the planning of a specific hazing incident involving a student at the university, or first-hand knowledge that a specific hazing incident has occurred, and knowingly fails to report said knowledge.
If you want to show a movie for a social event or your student organization wants to show a documentary for historical context, you are required to obtain movie licenses prior to the showing. The Federal Copyright Act governs how copyrighted materials, such as movies, should be shown publicly regardless if there is or not an admission fee.
Federal copyright law applies to all student orgs. DVDs that are rented or bought from stores are licensed for in-home viewing only. To show a DVD in a public space, a license must be secured from a booking agency. Licensing can cost between $300 and $1,000. Swank Motion Pictures has worked with many student orgs in the past, and you can reach them at 1-800-876-5577.